Okay, hear me out. The Smash Brothers documentary is actually a character study that uses visual metaphors as a form of characterization. Released in 2013, The Smash Brothers is a 9-part documentary series chronicling the events surrounding several competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee players throughout the growth of their competitive scene. For those of you not acquainted with the Melee scene, here's a super quick rundown. Released for the Nintendo GameCube in 2001, Super Smash Bros. Melee was a beat-em-up party game that was met with tremendous praise and popularity. It was the best-selling game on the console and well-beloved to the point that it still has a large fanbase almost 20 years later. Despite the creator, Masahiro Sakurai's intent that the game should mostly be a casual experience, a whole bunch of people realized that the game had a ton of competitive potential, largely resulting from the accidentally discovered movement options that made the game super speedy and technical to play. Whew! Good synopsis. I'm patting myself on my pineapple back. People learned that there were exploits in the game that could let players play a drastically faster game compared to what was initially intended, and pull off insane combos as a result. A character like this guy, Marth, for example, was intended to have an excellent grab range. As you can see, his grab is literally longer than Yoshi's tongue, but few options out of his grab. Well, I mean, as you can see, things didn't turn out that way. Oh god, oh, please, stop it, off! Jeez, oh, the man has a family. So one thing led to another, and before you knew it, people were racing around to find who could fully utilize the game's exploits to their fullest potential. And thus began the saga of the Super Smash Bros., a documentary attempting to chronicle those events as a way of showing the rich history of one of gaming's most interesting and unique competitive scenes. The documentary is typically valued as a historical documentation of an important part of gamer culture, and I personally agree with this labeling. It's clear that a lot of love went into creating it, and I'm super glad that it sits at over 3 million views, though honestly I hope that it soars even higher. Here's the thing though, the Smash Brothers documentary is often valued more for its historical depiction of Melee itself, rather than as an artistic film worthy of critical analysis. But as the overthinker that I am, I think that I found some things that make this film a whole lot cooler than most people already think that it is. So if you've already seen this film, I really hope that this video makes you appreciate it even more, and if you haven't seen it, then what the heck are you doing here? Go watch this movie, it's so good. I mean, like, seriously, if you like anything at all, forget about liking video games. Just, if you are a passionate creature, just watch this movie. It's 4 hours, but trust me, it's really, really good. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into how this documentary is actually a lot smarter than you might have originally thought. With few exceptions, each section of the doc focuses on one specific character. Azen, Isaiah, Ken, PC Chris, KoreanDJ, Mewtwo King, or Mango. Today we'll be looking at 2 segments of the documentary, Episode 6, Paper Cuts, and Episode 5, Revolution. Let's start with the former, Paper Cuts. In this segment, KoreanDJ, or KDJ for short, is presented as a hard-working Sheik main who rises through the ranks of the community through a rather unconventional training method. He challenges other players who are much stronger than him to games by incentivizing them with a small cash prize if they can beat him. This is also sometimes called a money match. One of the documentary's narrators, Wife, yes, his name is Wife, don't ask, explains that KoreanDJ treats Smash like a freestyle rap, learning the game as he plays, and constructing combos as he goes. This heavily contrasts a player like Mewtwo King, who spends hours labbing and calculating the exact right moves to input at the exact right percentages. KDJ is also known for having a very audacious playstyle, where he goes deep off the stage in an attempt to edgeguard, something that at the time was largely unheard of. It should be noted that KDJ's explosive playstyle shouldn't be confused for a thoughtless or reckless playstyle, but should instead be seen as a more intuitive style that's based on good knowledge of the game as well as strong fundamentals and tons of practice. So you've just been told a good chunk of what you need to know about KDJ's playstyle. Yay us! However, while most documentaries would leave it at that, director Samox decided to take things a step further by showing you that this style of play is highly indicative of who KDJ is as a person. And Samox does this by using visual metaphors. There's this rule in writing called show don't tell, which acts as a nifty little reminder that people generally like seeing things as images rather than having things explained to them through exposition. I can have a character verbally explain why this bad guy is so strong and super duper dangerous, but no matter how good the dialogue is, it likely won't be as satisfying as well, actually seeing a bad guy exert his power and do bad things. This is why you'll oftentimes see people expressing their disdain for exposition in general. Heck, CinemaSins even has its own meme where it docks a point every time the audience is meant to read something at the start of a film.
Reading. Also, if you're gonna make me read exposition to open the movie, I should at least not come away from it more confused than before.
I came to the theater to see and hear things on a screen, not to read out a bunch of exposition beforehand. The brilliance of Samox's implementation of show don't tell comes through a clever little use of setup and payoff. He introduces KDJ as a person, not as a player, through two very clever little digressions. One of the first introductions that we as viewers get to KoreanDJ as a person is this short anecdote about how he first got into Smash.
I remember it was second grade. My dad and my mom went to a business trip down in Florida. My dad had to go pick up some shipments, some jeans from China that he had imported. One of my dad's friends gave him a referral. It's like, oh, this guy can give you a ride. The guy went to a bar, and he was pretty hammered. He dozed off on the wheel, crashed into a concrete wall. Doctors were like, this guy has only like a 10% chance of living. He just wouldn't give up. Like, he just didn't care. He just wanted to just get better. Just to see that happen, you know, it's really inspirational. Like to see him like going through all this stuff. My father was in the hospital and recovering. My mom had to go to work. So most of the time I was by myself. A lot of the things that I did to really pass the time was like video games.
While it might seem that this information has been given to us so that we can see why KDJ has so much free time alone to play Smash, Samox was clever and used the story as a setup for a payoff later on in the episode. Here's the thing. Remember when I was talking about KDJ's unorthodox training regimen? Well, trust me, it's incredibly demoralizing to get spanked by a Smash player who is much, much stronger than you. It kind of feels like you're getting your head spun around in a fist fight by someone who is just much, much stronger than you. As someone who regularly spars against one of the top 20 players in my region, I can tell you that sometimes you don't even feel like you're playing the same game. It's just over that fast. God, I hate Yoshi. But that's what's special about KoreanDJ. Despite the relentless beating that he gets from other players, his losses don't really ever deter him enough to quit. The entire father-son setup in the documentary acts as a form of characterization for KoreanDJ, because it subtly lets the viewer know the history of where he gets his motivation from. His tenacious father is his biggest inspiration. It's one thing to see a character exhibit admirable traits through their actions, but it's an even more rewarding experience to see how the character came to embody those traits. Samox didn't have to ask KoreanDJ about his childhood, nor did he have to include the interview in the final cut. Documentary filmmaking has a lot of footage that gets thrown to the wayside in post-production, so this entire bit was actually very intentional. This one scene sets up a motivational force for KoreanDJ that pays off with the reveal of his eventual success, resulting from his brutal and unorthodox training method. So that's it, we've got one setup so far. Before we learn about KDJ's father, there's this other little bit of seemingly superfluous footage in which KoreanDJ is explaining his history with the violin. He explains that his relationship with the instrument is as follows.
The first orchestra meeting I had was absolutely horrifying because I couldn't read sheet music. I just play by ear. For some reason, I became the concert master of the orchestra. And I just went from this guy who just has absolutely no idea how to read sheet music to becoming the concert master in 4 years. I was like, I don't know how that happened.
So now, as the viewer, you have an anecdote regarding the tenacity of KoreanDJ's father, as well as an anecdote regarding how KDJ became the concert master at his orchestra. With this knowledge in mind, I want us to have a look at this montage, which I'm going to play in its entirety because it is like the most hype thing I've ever seen in a documentary ever, period. So cool. Roll the clip, James.
He just started improving exponentially every time he would play.
And it was down to the wire. It was down to the last hit. And I was just thinking, this kid is hitting fucking good. I I wouldn't be surprised if he beat me in tournament at that point.
I saw him starting to annihilate people like Neo and Chillin in money matches and just like destroy them, and they were like, what the hell? Who is this kid?
This gameplay montage is interspersed with a cover of Gerudo Valley, a song from the Legend of Zelda franchise. On its surface, the song seems to have two apparent connections to the contents of this segment. The first being that KoreanDJ mains a Zelda character in Melee, and the second is that he himself gets to display some of his violin talents. However, there's a deeper underlying meaning to this choice as a result of Samox's brilliant setup. So we as the viewers have a lot of information about KDJ. His inability to read music is both unconventional, and it shows us that he plays a more free-form style of music, but still succeeds. As for Smash, we see that his training method for Smash, like his style of violin playing, is also unconventional. Furthermore, the fact that he lacks experience, yet is inspired by his audacious father, results in him playing Smash with a more free-form style, but still succeeding because of that tenacity. I know that all of this written out is really complex as all hell, but that's the craziest part about what Samox pulls off here. He communicates this all through visual storytelling, painting not just an image of a competitive gamer, but that of a freeform artist. It's decisions like this that can make the whole viewing experience that much more enjoyable the second or third time you see the documentary. Samox really went out of his way to humanize his subjects, not merely by presenting them honestly and accurately, but also by fully utilizing everything in his artistic arsenal, from cuts to music to pre-established exposition. While the paper cut segment is definitely my favorite part of the documentary, there's this oddly soothing moment at the end of the PC Chris segment that utilizes some of the same techniques that I brought up in the KDJ section. Remember how I brought up seemingly superfluous information as being one of Samox's greatest tricks? Well, in this segment, he actually does it even more subtly, and does so at the end of the segment. Chris is dubbed the cool smasher in the community because he's very laid back and humble, and I mean, there couldn't be any other reasons why he's so popular. Oh, who are we kidding? Look at that smile! Ladies, the ladies love him. He is, and by like 10% of the men, he just, look at that smile! Even though he won the Battle of Las Vegas at the midway point of the doc, essentially making him the best player in the world at the time, there's a telling piece of the doc where he reveals a distinct personality trait that separates PC from his peers. It's in this bit that you learn about a little-known tournament in Honolulu, Hawaii, where PC got invited out there by some people who really wanted to play against him. For this bit, I yet again found it relevant to just play out this small section, because it's just so beautiful. Roll the clip, James.
Just one tournament that's less known that I went to was a one in Hawaii. I went to Honolulu, got picked up by some smashers who just were excited to play me, and were like very excited that I was coming to Hawaii. But like, I'm excited to go to Hawaii, like, thank you, like, of course, like, I'm gonna do that. I tried to learn how to surf. Like, the competitive stubborn person I am, like, it just took me so long to at least catch a wave and like start to like ride on the board, and then like the next day I was trying to learn how to get up, and like at the time I was like, why am I doing this? But like at the end of the day it was so fun, and like being able to leave stand up for a couple seconds was like totally worth like 10 hours in the water.
Keeping in mind the trick that was pulled with the KDJ section, I really hope you guys were able to see it here too. Samox is drawing a symbolic parallel between PC Chris's relationship with surfing and why he pushed himself to be the best in the world at Smash. There's a joy in getting to ride that wave. You'll need to work for it, and you'll fall and struggle at times, but in the end there's a joy that comes from achieving something that shouldn't be, smoothly gliding over violent crashing waves. What this clip reveals in a very subtle way is that while your Kens, KDJs, and Azens were fighting against each other to be the very best in the world, PC was actually just fighting against himself the whole time. And the marvelous thing about it all is that at the end of the day, he won. Here's the note I'd like to end on. Samox has been taking a long while on the sequel to the doc, titled Metagame, and it can be laughably frustrating seeing each update video seemingly getting us no closer to actually seeing it. But the next time you roll your eyes because Samox is jonesing yet again about release delays, just remember that he probably isn't just trying to collect all of the stories that made Smash great, but he's also finding the right way to present them in the sickest way possible. What made the original Smash Bros. Movie great is that you weren't just experiencing how these characters see Smash, you're getting to experience how they see the world, and there's something honestly beautiful in that, even if it comes from the unexpected source of a goofy documentary about some old video game. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you managed to get something out of this video, and maybe if you've already seen the Smash documentary, maybe you'll want to maybe watch it again and piece together all those little things that I brought up. So for this week's YouTuber recommendations, I've got 2 recommendations for you guys. The first of which is, I'm not even gonna, Greg? I don't even know. JREG. He's a really witty political commentator, and I think that he's really bad at marketing himself. I subbed to him when he was at like 5,000 subs and really just was putting out this really wacky, quirky content. Words. He's just really cool, and if you like something different, he's only got like 60,000 subs, and I think he deserves way more. And if you're interested in like political stuff, he's definitely cool and worth checking out. The second person that I want to recommend is someone who I also feel like doesn't get the views he deserves, and he's probably on my top 5 YouTubers of all time, Patrick H. Willems. This guy is so good. Man, he's such a huge inspiration for this channel. This guy just loves film so much. It's just crazy. It just oozes and radiates from everything that he puts out. He just has such a pure love for cinema, and yeah, if you're looking for some stuff to binge, Patrick H. Willems is kind of the opposite of Dreg, where like needless to say, Patrick H. Willems' videos are way put together, whereas Dreg's whole appeal is that like none of it is put together. But anyway, I hope you give those 2 videos a try. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and I'm so excited to put up my next video. It's really cool. It's about RuPaul. Take care, bye.